Have you ever heard of an opening called the White Rat? I don't think so. If this video won't make you subscribe to this channel or liking it, I don't know what will. Imagine you are facing a stronger opponent or a higher rated opponent who has mastered the Sicilian defense so well. Worse off, you are just an average e4 player. Obviously, pawn to c5 on the first move would be your worst nightmare to face on the board. Nobody likes the Sicilian defense due to its solidness and complex nature. So what you want to do when you're playing against Sicilian players is to apply slow breaks. You don't need to rush with your attacks. Sometimes the best type of chess you can play is what I call nothing chess. Learn to do nothing on the board, because oftentimes it is your opponents themselves who blunder at the end because they wanted to do something about your moves. Let me explain. After pawn to c5, instead of playing knight f3, going into the Yugoslav attack, or the KRS, I propose you go pawn to d3. This won't be the King's Indian attack, I promise. And hey, I want you to think of this opening as the reversed Filido defense at this point. But our real intention is to go knight d2 on the third move. And this will kind of transpose the game back to the reversed rat defense. Or I can call it the rat opening with white. Point is, if pawn takes, now you safely take back with your d pawn without having to worry about losing your queen, just like what we do in the rat defense. Can you see this, you guys? And surprisingly enough, masters and other chess experts have played this at the top level. You can see in the masters database right now. Once again, this kind of resembles the King's Indian attack against the Sicilian defense, but far from it, cause we are not thinking of yankeroing our light squared bishop. Anyway, over to the latest database. The top played move is knight c6 in this position. And now here is your consistent plan. Whenever you see knight c6, you always want to play pawn to c3. Done. c3 stops knight d4 and knight b4 in the near future. The next move you will want to play is knight f3. Done. And depending on the situation, you can consider playing bishop c4, especially if white chooses to go e5, or sometimes just putting your bishop on e2 or on d3, but I prefer bishop e2 for stability. Done. From there, you are going to castle short. And since your pawn will sit on c3, your queen has to be developed on c2. Done. And you see, we may maneuver our queen's knight like this. Pap, done. And this automatically frees up our dark squared bishop. If we don't want to do that, another way to free up our dark squared bishop after castling short is by playing rook e1, then knight f1 and knight g3. Done. In the near future, we may also consider putting our knight on f5. And oftentimes, a5 will always be met with f4. From there, you can continue playing your chess and probably lose peacefully. I'm just kidding, you are going to be winning most of your games against amateurs. Anyway, against everyone. After knight c6, you just want to play knight gf3. Pawn to e5 is by far the top played move, just like I said. And this is when you want to play moves like bishop c4, bishop e2, or even bishop b5. In fact, bishop b5 in this position carries more weight. Why? Because you are pinning the knight to the king. I mean, it's the only knight that guards the e5 pawn. So this comes with tempo, and black will be forced to play passive moves like f6. If they play bishop d6, for example, you are already winning, as you can tell from the eval bar, due to knight c4, double attacking the bishop. Okay, say bishop c7, this is what they do. Point is, after takes and king takes, you will simply walk away with an extra pawn like that, threatening to take on f7 with check as well and win the rook. People do take here, after which you take back like that. Whose pawn structure is better at the end of the day? I don't know. It's white's. Bishop e6, just stopping this. As you can see, knight h6 was going to be a 1-0 move due to bishop takes and that. So they play bishop e6, and now that allows you to take the free pawn with check. But anyway, here you can just go bishop e3 since you're attacking this other pawn as well. Just say knight f6, and now you castle long if you want. That's going to come with check. But hey, your e4 pawn is under attack. Why not strengthening it? There's no need to rush taking any of these pawns here. They are already dead. They are the walking dead. So, pawn to f3, king c7, bishop takes, maybe rook a b8 attacking the b2 pawn. And now this is when you can even castle long if you want. or play knight d3 to defend the b2 pawn. Pap, and life continues. With castle long, you're also threatening to give a check and win that poor rook. Chess can be that simple. I'm calling this the white rat opening. For those of you who don't know the actual rat defense, simply watch the video that has popped up in the card above. You will also find the link in the comment section down below to my complete rat defense video series. But anyway, just to give you heads up, with black pieces, after white plays e4, we start with d6 as if we want to play the perk defense, but nope. After d4, we want to play knight d7, and this transposes to the rat defense or the anto defense. Point is, after something like knight c3 or knight f3, now you go pawn to e5, and after pawn takes, you take back like that without having to worry about trading off your queen. This is the exact thing that we are doing even with white pieces. Or to make it more realistic, sometimes this may happen in the queen's pawn game. After d4, you simply go d6, and if white plays c4 or something like that, you go knight d. Okay, say this time they play knight f3, trying to complete their queen's gambit setup. Now this is when you can simply go e5, knowing that pawn takes will be made by DE, not worrying about losing your queen once again. Look at you! And this is the exact position that we saw even in the Sicilian defense. Now with white pieces, it's like white played the reversed Sicilian in this position, or the English. Check out, bam! Exactly what you see even in the normal rat defense. And just a bonus, if you don't have a proper opening to play against the English opening, you can also consider the rat defense. Sometimes you can start with e5, it doesn't even matter. After pawn to g3, you simply go knight d7. Once again, you want to play e5. If pawn to d4, that will even be better. Bishop g2, pawn to e5. And what did I say you should do whenever you see knight c3? Always consider playing moves like pawn to c6. That stops knight d5 or knight b5. This is the easiest way to play against the English opening. Who are you? Welcome to KaspaChess. This is what we do when we are sober. Anyway, this will be a lesson for another day on how to crush the English opening with the rat defense. Let's go back. Once again, back to the Sicilian defense. e4, c5. If you don't know what to do, or you don't have a proper opening repertoire, just think of playing the reversed Filido defense, intending to go knight d2 next if black plays d5. Now wait, if you check the Lichess database, the top played move here is not pawn to d5, but knight c6. Sometimes they play d6 and pawn to e6. g6 is also an option. Also in the Masters database, pawn to d5 is like the fourth played move. So you will see knight c6, g6, and pawn to e6 most of the times. So let's address that. Knight c6. So once again, our plan is very simple. What did I say? Whenever you see knight c6, for consistency's sake, just remember to play pawn to c3, even though in this particular position it's not the best move, but you just want to stick to your plan, stopping knight d4 or knight b4 in the near future. And whenever they play pawn to d5, just go knight d2. You know our plan already. If pawn to e6 or whatever they do, just go knight d2. Okay, now they play pawn to d5 because they are tired of waiting. Remember your plan, knight gf3. If pawn takes, you're going to take back like that. They play knight f6, that's the top played move in the Lichess database. It's up to you to fianchetto your light squad bishop and castle short if you want, or play bishop e2. Queen c2 is also coming, by the way. So the way I would start this development is by playing queen c2. There's a reason, say bishop e7, and now I go bishop e2. Remember, this is just the opening stage where we are developing our pieces and also improving our position. This is not the right time for us to start attacking, looking for quick checkmates. No. After something like castle short, you can castle short as well if you want and play rook e1. But you see, the purpose of playing queen c2 is to indirectly defend your pawn on e4. So it is in these kinds of positions where you can even think of relocating your knight to the king side. You want to put it on g3. This automatically paves the way for your dark squad bishop. How about that? Let's say black plays pawn to b6, because what else can they do? Now you can even develop your bishop if you want. Bishop f4 is not much of a stretch. Sometimes you can also go pawn to e5, but just leave your bishop like that. Play knight g3, continuing with your plan. By the way, the only reason why I like the move bishop f4 is that it stops queen c7 and bishop d6. if you think about it. Anyway, let's say bishop b7, and now you can safely go knight j3. So you're just improving your position slowly but sure. By the way, whenever you see the move pawn to d4, don't even take with any of your pieces. No, don't take. Let black take you so that you can recapture with your b pawn. We continue holding or preventing knight d4 and knight b4. At this point, you can just go ahead and cast a shot. Now see, by following this simple plan, you were able to get out of the opening stage safely without any blunders, mistakes, or oversights. For future reference, a5 can be met with f4. You will then centralize your rooks as highlighted, play h3, and start doing what you do before you mess up your games. Anyway, my role is to help you get out of the opening stage safely. What you do in the middle game and in the end game is none of my business at the moment. I have courses that teach you how to play middle games and what to do in the end games. Anyway, this time let's look at something else. After c5, d3, what if black plays pawn to d6? Note d5 or knight c6. d6 is a slow way of them playing the Sicilian defense. Once again, you can stick to your plan. In most cases, positions will be transposing. So you can start with knight f3, it doesn't even matter, or simply knight d2. Anyway, because you know after knight c6, you have pawn to c3, stopping knight d4 and knight b4. Any move, such as knight f6, you have knight gf3. I can even play any random move here. Bishop g4, h3, bishop h5. You can even play pawn to g4 here, but just for consistency, bishop e2. Let's say pawn to e6. Again, you are at liberty to play that knight maneuver, but only after ensuring that your e4 pawn is well defended and you don't have to worry about, trading off your queen so early. Bishop e7, knight f1, castle shot, knight g3. Also coming with an attack on the bishop. Bishop g6. Maybe this time you can even consider playing knight h4, trying to get rid of that bishop out of the game. By the way, if you are thinking about this, that fails due to knight takes. If knight takes, your knight takes comes with check. So black has to respond to that, and then they will lose a free piece. You will remain with a bishop pair. Anyway, after c5 and pawn to d3, the other move that you may see apart from d6, knight c6 or d5 is pawn to e6. Once again, your plan still remains the same. Knight d2, if pawn to d5, once again, just random moves. You don't have to worry about taking. You go knight gf3, anything, as long as it's making sense. If they take, you can gladly take back. If knight c6, what did I say again? Play pawn to c3 to stop knight d4. Or knight b4. Knight f6, you don't even have to, worry about playing pawn to e5. Sometimes black would do that and you'll be forced to go back to the French or something like that. So just leave your pawn like that. That's what you intend to do. So next, you may play bishop e2 or queen c2. Anything is playable here. Risk-free chess. Bishop e7, bishop e2, castle short, castle short. You can see this time we didn't even bother transferring the knight like that. So I just want to show you that there are many ways to kill a rat in the world. Maybe pawn to b5 this time. We don't care about what is going on the queen side. Yeah, we can even play d4, by the way, to start opening up the position, because you just don't want to keep on playing a closed game. But anyway, rook e1, sticking to our plan. Why rook e1? Because we want to transfer our queen's knight to the king side. Let's just say a5. And so we go knight f1, b4. We don't have to take. We want black to take us so that we recapture with our b pawn, maintaining our pawn structure. Here I would play a3 to challenge this pawn. Anyway, if pawn takes, I take back with my b pawn. Again, if d4, now this is a little bit challenging, but I can consider playing the move bishop b2 so that if pawn takes, I take back with my bishop. Now this will act more like a bigger pawn, stopping knight d4 or knight b4 together with a3. Anyway, bishop a6. Because of that, I can play knight 1 d2 or knight e3 or even knight j3. It's just a matter of choosing which one makes sense according to the position. Knight 1 d2 makes a lot of sense to me because I might consider putting my knight on c4 and then start playing chess. Right. Last but not the least, black may also play the g6 Sicilian as early as move 2 or the dragon Sicilian, whatever. Once again, you can stick to your plan. Knight d2, bishop g7. You can even play pawn to c3. As long as you know what you're doing, move order sometimes doesn't matter. Knight c6, knight gf3. Again, say d6, preventing e5. You go bishop e2, no more development. Knight f6, queen c2, castle shot, and castle shot if you want. Or since your e pawn is defended twice by your d3 pawn and your queen, you can do this. And after b5, you go knight g3. b4, you don't have to do anything about that. You can just go ahead and castle shot. B takes, you take back with your b pawn. And because of these two knights, I would consider start pawn storming like that. For example, after rook b8. The other move to consider most times is pawn to d4. You don't just need to concentrate on the size of the board. Also pay attention to what is happening on the center. d4 opens up the game and prepares for an attacking game anyway. cd, and the knight is under attack. Maybe knight b4 attacking your queen. You can play queen a4 or even queen c3. Say bishop d7, you go bishop e3, knight attack. You go bishop g5, h6. You go bishop d2, just improving your pieces, and you continue playing chess. Maybe next you may consider playing h3 first. After the knight goes back, you then play rook fb1 and start playing on this side of the board because there is no game on the queen side. This is what you do if your king side is deadlocked. So these were just examples of how to play my newly discovered opening called the White Rat. Once again, be sure to support this channel on Patreon. Subscribe if you haven't already, because that's what encourages me to keep on making more wonderful videos just like this one. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Share this video to a wider audience so that YouTube can discover us. Peace. By the way, you can check out my courses at www.KaspaChess.com or on my Patreon page. That's how you support this channel, by the way. I don't ask for donations or free money. So the way you support this channel is by joining one of our membership tiers on Patreon or simply buying my courses. That really helps.